Hello, friends of Pirate Chain. It's me, Giuliano. It's 15th of June. We are halfway through the month by the end of today. So I'm going to share this screen looking at the price charts. You know, in terms of BTC USD, I'm just going to take a quick look at that because on the previous video, we drew this potential zone here, and we have indeed entered this zone. How long will we hold it? It's hard to say. On the 4-hour, it looks like there's a bit of turning over that will happen. Doesn't mean the price has to go all the way down to these support levels around 36, 37,000 Satoshis on the Ichimoku cloud region. It just could mean that it's going to float sideways, maybe down a little bit, and chop around until it regains some momentum. Same thing with the RSI, bottom to top, and these moves are not huge moves long term. They're just the short term ups and downs, ups and sidewayses and downses and all of that. But anyway, we made it up here. Now the question is, what effect will BTC price have? Because it's either going to stay sideways choppy or it's going to go down a bit. And because the potential for going up is there still on a daily chart, there's still some room for that, but there's also room to sideways here and even down a little bit as well on the RSI, and same thing with the MACD. Now these are lagging indicators. We're in a positive histogram territory, so how long is that going to last? We've been so hugely positive previously, came into the negative territory, nice and deep into the negative territory. Don't think on one move we're going to be back in the positive. I think that it's going to turn over within the negative territory. All right. So having said that, and even friends of Japanese candlesticks here might agree that this pause candle, although we are only halfway through the day at 1335 UTC, still it signals potentially a pause in the upward momentum. It could just be a pause in this green candle, pause, green candle. But yeah, either way, there is a slowdown, and it looks like it might last for, let's say, the rest of the week, or at least the next few days is a good possibility. Either that, or at these levels, because the longer it doesn't break above this level, does either through the zone or even halfway, let's call it the halfway zone line, then the longer it doesn't break through that, the more chance it has of turning over. Therefore, we're at a pretty critical spot where if it breaks through, it's pretty much straight up. Like if we look at this reasonably from the previous price move, when we look at it over here, it was pretty much an up and down move. So that means that it'll pretty much be an up move. So this was a down move, this would be an up move. And yeah, this scenario here, I mean, there is the tease of going right through that thin part of the cloud, okay, or even, through this region here. And that brings us to the end of June. So again, this region here is still in play, but for these next number of days, I don't see us challenging this downward price action with a respective upward price action. Does that make sense? All right, well, we'll see what ends up happening anyway. So that's that. So that takes us to the Pirate Chain price charts. And friends, we want to take consideration of all the possibilities. We want to think about what could happen so that we can be ready for it. So I've been wondering how does a $2 Pirate Chain price come? And it could come with Bitcoin volatility to the downside. Does it even come? I don't know. I don't see why it's ruled out yet. So for me, it's not ruled out yet. But at the same time, maybe it's not a $2 level. Maybe it's a, 250, 275 level. Okay. Point being that this low might not be the final full low of the full correction move. That's one possibility. You see, as we move in towards July and August, we're not entirely sure what type of weakness we're going to see in the markets. And if the degree of weakness is on the, like there's a much more significant weakness in Bitcoin price, let's say, or whatever markets are going to be showing their influence, then here we could have some sort of position like this where we dump down actually below what we expected in this short term, and here we are in dollar terms, and then building back from there. Considering that that would bring us nicely into this channel for the end of August. We could play around through here till the end of August, maybe break it into September. Maybe we're never going to break this channel. Maybe if this is going to be actually channel to follow, I don't think we're going to break this 0 to 2 trend line. Okay, so maybe the point being is that it brings us easier into the channel and allows us to bounce off of it and then find our way up into, let's say, September, October, and beyond. The possibility of breaking this channel downward is less, but we will, as we get closer towards that, we will consider that. But now you can see, based on this move, that this green action is not unreasonable as a shape. Okay. The other option would be something like the pink, where it's just a very slow sideways grinding movement. All right. Another option would be something more like the yellow, where we have some ups, but we also have some downs, and maybe maybe the downs, they come lower than has been put here, but whatever. Okay. So yeah, those are some of the thoughts that are passing through as I'm watching. For example, we're watching the we're going to hide this one, and see what type of action plays out. As these Bollinger Bands on this daily chart, as they start to narrow even more, we know that it's a wind up, and we know a move is coming to the downside or the upside, a significant move. And therefore, as these narrow and we stay below that 20 moving average, the likelihood is increased that it's a downward movement. Okay, so hold on to your hats. Just keep paying attention shorter term. And if you feel like, it depends what your overall strategy is and all of that. So if you feel like you can have the patience, then have some patience. $4 pirate chain seems amazing, and $2 would probably be like somebody gave you a 2-for-1 deal. Not saying it's going to 2, but I think you know what I mean. Now, none of this is really financial advice at all, because these are random movements in the market, and we're trying our best to chart them and follow them, and also forecast, predict them a bit. Now, this could be the very low of this corrective movement. All right. But MACD wise, we're fit to go a little lower, aren't we? Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. This could just be a tiny little move, and then we scoop up into a positive territory. So it's still as yet unclear, but even in terms of the daily RSI, I do believe that this correction will see us have a lower RSI low than this May 23rd. It has to. It is. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. Now, having said that, having said that, I am convinced, at least in my own mind, my measly mind here, that we will come lower, and I would like it. Maybe it's just my preference. I want it to clear out, because then that feels safer to be looking to long movements up. And this is just a daily chart too. And that's what also, we're going to look at the closing of the weekly, but that's what also brings us into some points of consideration. And we're just looking at the information that's in front of us and trying to think, like, what is going on and what could happen. So really, is this the significant low? Possibly. Is it possible to have another one? Yes, possibly. the 20 period moving average is between the $2 and $3 level. Right now, it's at about 2.75, let's say, okay? So that means that at $2.75, all right, is still a supportive level. Now, that would mean we would have to get there immediately, but really don't think it's going to move much beyond yeah, by the time we get to this orange line, it might be too late. We've still got half this month left, and there's some possibilities for more pain. I just, whenever we think that the pain is over, there's usually a bit more pain. But I guess because we're so desensitized to it, we just make sure we don't capitulate, and then we can, that pain doesn't hurt as bad, especially if you're prepared to catch some of that rainwater and drink it up. All right, so yeah, this is not looking like our best friend overall. However, the potential for just on a weekly time frame holding something like that is still there, because remember, this is a weekly chart. So even if we go to $2.50 or 75 cents, $2.75 during the week, we could still be closing at a price within that, like at a high, sorry, at a close that's higher than this low, you know, or not meaning that it has to be a huge close at this low level. All right, awesome. And then, I mean, somehow we start to look more like this from back here. Okay, so not to mean that we have to look like it. In fact, it would be nice if there are differences, right? We want the alternation. So let's see what we get. All right, but it is a weekly time frame, and so these things, they take time, they last. So what that's going to mean is, well, let's take a look over. So yeah, at the BTC chart. Okay, so basically, friends, just check your levels, you know, have yourselves ready, just psychologically ready. Okay, that's all. Maybe we're gonna have the best time ever and everything is gonna be funky and all kinds of dory. But look at this, on a weekly level, we still have things to clear out for sure on the BTC chart. Same thing with the RSI. So that was the MACD, the RSI. We have things to clear out. The potential for this chart here is to continue with this choppy action, because see, so this is where we're closing weekly. So we are really within this rectangular zone here. Let's see if we can hold that. I am considering so that's the weekly. So we do have time. We do need to maybe clear out a bunch here, but it doesn't mean it has to all be sideways down. It could be sideways up or up sideways, because this is our BTC chart. And if we start looking, let's say on the daily, let's just consider the daily position here. Now, we are starting to have potential for squeezing. We are below the 20 period average. So that's not in our favor, but it's wide enough, and it's been this wide for long enough that this is not signaling yet some massive windup comparatively. All right. However, the longer it stays like this, the more we're going to be winding up narrowing. And then that's going to really break us in one direction or the other. Now, in terms of the RSI, it looks like this RSI wants to, again, make its way lower below these, at least these lows, to retest some of the action down here. And I mean, considering that it barely broke below the oversold line here at the beginning of the 2021 year, I would say we're fitting to get down there and maybe even go lower. This is a daily. However, before that happens, I don't know if it's going straight down. It will depend again on the BTC. How violent is the BTC move to the downside and or the upside? Because if a violent BTC move to the upside could also spell violent downside for the RBTC chart, as the RUSD would be going up. But again, looks like we even for BTC, we need that time, and that means ups and downs, you know, dailies and weeklies, until on a monthly scale, things are pretty clear and clean and ready to move on. That's where we work with our minds to check our mindsets. Now, in terms of this previous high, previous positive histogram movement, now we're into a negative histogram movement. It is a lagging indicator. And so there is a chance for a small one to round out, meaning the price will already be rounding out as this follows the price. Okay, we had two big chunks over here as we were clearing out down into the negative territory. I do believe we're going to go further negative after, but I'm just hoping that it's not now. I'm hoping we can get a bit of sideways, but if we're going lower than this one, then it might be now. It might be happening now, and towards the end of the month, you know, we'll be lower. Could be like that. But because of, and that might be when this is winding up, and then we start going lower. Same thing with the RSI. You know, maybe we're gonna chop back up a little bit and then go further down. We did a lot of chopping here. Maybe we'll do a bit of chopping here. We've already done some. Let's see, it will likely want to go there, meaning we can see at least a move up towards the, I'd say, 12,000 Satoshi level. Probably won't reach 12,000 with the resistance around the mid to high 11,000s. All right, so that what was previous really strong support that we needed is going to be our resistance. And I do think we are going to go there, but I don't think we're going to be much successful. And the worst potential is that we don't even break that. So what would be nice is if we could regain at least, you know, to a 13,000 or within the 12,000 Satoshi level. All right, like even a 12,500-ish level. That would be decent, but just doesn't seem like that. And so, yeah, I'm not trying to sound the bear alarm, but overall, we just need to be really aware that it's possible. You know, there's like such low volume here. There's not a lot trading hands, let's say. So that also comes into play with the ease with which the price can go down or up. Having said that, look how strong it's been this whole time. This is amazing sideways action right here. I mean, I'm saying this downward movement stuff, but first is upward, and it could go strong enough, right? Depending on what's happening, because it looks like right now that the altcoin Bitcoin prices are moving in a way which keeps their dollar prices at a certain level. And right now it seems like the dollar price is a $4 price. All right, for now, as the BTC is kind of not scaring anybody. So yeah, that's where it is, but that could change. It's really just going to be depending on what BTC does. So keep your eyes out. I mean, right now is not really the time to be making big moves one way or the other. It's really just time to be ready. Like, if this is going to be happening, what would I do? If this is going to be happening, what would I do? What would I want? How would I be prepared? That kind of thinking. Okay, that's what we're working with today. And I think that's where we're going to leave it. If we go into the 4 hours, I was getting mildly excited here. I thought that I was starting to see some divergence here on the RSI and on a longer period possibly, but it cancels itself out. So what means here is if what I was seeing is over here with the RSI specifically, having lower low, higher low, higher low, and it was in the price it was a higher low, lower low, and then as it kept shaping out with the next couple of 4 hour moves, it fizzled the potential. So What would have been good is if the price actually kept going lower and this was getting higher. Now, that doesn't change it necessarily. It could still be showing the potential for the bullish divergence, but that we'll have to really watch that play out. This is the BTC on the 4-hour price chart. And so based on this, you know, we've seen this before, move to the downside, break Bollinger Band, come in, come down. We haven't broken Bollinger Band, so maybe this is our sideways move to consolidate, and then we'll move back up a bit into the 11,000s or high 10,000s, and then we'll see. You know, we already have this resistance here around the 11,500 of the Ichimoku cloud coming down. So that's just seems to be where we are, folks. So yeah, hope you're doing well. You know, stay rested as best as you can. Enjoy that sun, the weather, whatever it is, rain, shine, dark and light, all of it. Take it all in. And I look forward to the next one. Bye for now. Oh, by the way, just in case, if you're still watching, thanks. Leave your comments, liking the videos. Yeah, I'll talk about t-shirt next time. All right, peace.